is known for extreme weather. Several tornadoes spun through areas of Colorado in March. I took shelter in the basement during a tornado warning in Elizabeth, Colorado. The tornado warning brought rain and hail. A tornado ripped off roofs and damaged houses in the Elkhorn Ranch neighborhood in Elbert County, Colorado. I stopped into the Castle Rock Historical Society and Museum. I talked to the museum director about the extreme weather of the 1965 flood in Castle Rock, Colorado.
I have a little bit of Castle Rock that some lady, Betty Saunders, actually a local resident, took right outside the window of her house, because Kingman's Sellers Gulch actually flowed right beside her house.
There was more extreme weather during the 1965 flood.
Part of that flood episode, there actually was a tornado just on the north side of town that wiped out a gas station there.
And you said she didn't know about items washing up from the flood.
Aware of anything that got revealed. I mean, a lot of things were destroyed. There was a couple blocks from here, there was a trailer park, and that got totally reassembled or disassembled. And when I first moved to Castle Rock, I noticed that there were a lot of cars in the banks of the streams, and I had no idea why they were there. I didn't know if people just abandoned their cars, but I found out later on that's what happened to a lot of the cars from the flood, and they used the damaged cars to actually prop up the banks of the, like, Sellers Gulch and East Plum Creek.
From extreme weather to geology. According to the Castle Rock Museum director, Castle Rock is made from more than just one type of rock. A conglomerate is a mix of pebbles and other rocks stuck together.
They opened some of the parks here. That Castle Rock itself is not all rhyolite. It's called Castle Rock Conglomerate. It has rhyolite in it, but it isn't actually rhyolite. That's because it was the bottom of a riverbed at one time, and so rhyolite washed into it, but it actually wasn't formed as many of the other mesas were formed.
Museum director discusses new exhibits.
Sedalia also suffered severe damage in the flood. In fact, there are pictures of a local church being totally washed away, and never having been able to be reestablished in Sedalia because of that huge flood. As things progressed northward, Sellers Gulch and East Plum Creek merged, and then that merged in Sedalia between East and West Plum Creek, so the size of the flood just kept expanding as it went north.
Museum director discusses new exhibits.
The depot that was part of the railroad, and that's being restored. We have a winter sleigh that's also going to be restored. So we have a couple of those things that will be on display later this year. We're actually going to be celebrating the 150th anniversary of this building as a depot. It was built in 1875, and we'll be celebrating that in September.
Angie talks about settlers moving west to the Douglas County area.
Well, if I can talk a little bit about people who came here, a lot of people came to this area at first because they were seeking gold, and some was found in Douglas County, but a lot of people weren't successful in finding gold, so then they decided it would be better to have a business and sell things to those seeking gold as a longer way to make a good living. And another reason for folks coming to this area were Civil War veterans. They came out here after the Civil War seeking kind of a fresh start in life. And so we have several people who came for that reason. A lot of people also came and established ranches because the Homestead Act had been passed in 1862, and you could have 160 acres of free land if you made certain improvements and lived on the land for at least 5 to 7 years.
Angie says more about an occasion.
Celebrating the 150th anniversary of this building, and we're grateful that a couple, Bill and Joyce Murray, bought it for $25 and saved it from destruction and moved it to our current location. And then we were able to obtain it. The Castle Rock Historical Society was able to obtain this building and create the museum.
Angie tells us the story about a rumored monster.
Well, before Castle Rock enlarged to the 80,000 people that it is today, just south of town, supposedly hairy monster was sighted. And so word kept spreading until people came out in their cars in Denver to try and see if they could see this fella. And so there, after a couple of days, there continued to be occasional sightings. Eventually, again, I guess the investigation proved that there really wasn't a monster. It apparently was somebody dressed up into a gorilla suit or something like that. But it attracted a lot of attention in this area, and whoever the person was never identified.
Angie tells a story about a rumored alien encounter.
Young gentlemen were home on vacation, and they went away apparently to boarding school, and they were doing science projects there. And one of them was to show that if you heat a balloon, it expands. So they took a couple of dry cleaner bags and fastened the little candle underneath, and so it rose and flew down the street. And this was in the 1950s, and people were kind of concerned about all kinds of things, the Cold War, aliens, I think, and other things. And so people called the sheriff's department and were quite upset about these balloons flying down the street. The sheriff investigated and said there wasn't a problem, but he never revealed the names of the children.
Learning history can be an adventure. Be sure to visit the Castle Rock Historical Society and Museum. I spot a herd of elk hopping a fence. I spot wild turkeys, and I spot juvenile turkeys as well. Remember, the greatest treasures are the memories you make along the way. For Wire Ride TV on Roku and WireRide.com, I'm Terry Saunders.